Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his face as he looked at the broken engine of his cargo ship. Black smoke came out of the metal parts. Sparks flew from the wires. The ship had crashed hard on this strange planet, and now he was stuck. The planet looked beautiful but different. Purple grass grew everywhere. 2 suns hung in the orange sky. Strange trees with silver leaves moved in the wind. Jake had never seen anything like it before. He was a simple man from Earth. He worked fixing machines and building things with his hands. Space travel was just his job. He carried cargo from one planet to another. But now his ship was broken, and he was far from home. Jake pulled out his tools and started working. He needed to lift a heavy piece of metal that had fallen on the engine. The piece was big and heavy. Back on Earth, this would need 2 or 3 men to move it. But Jake was alone. He bent down and grabbed the metal with both hands. He took a deep breath and lifted. The heavy piece came up easily. Jake set it aside and kept working. What he did not know was that 3 pairs of eyes were watching him from behind the purple trees. Zara, Lyria, and Kessa were young women from the Veltari people. They had never seen a creature like Jake before. The Veltari looked like humans but were much smaller and weaker. Their bones were thin, and their muscles were not strong. "Did you see that?" Zara whispered to her friends. She had long blue hair and big green eyes. He lifted that metal piece by himself. "That is impossible," said Lyria. She was the smallest of the 3 with short silver hair. "It would take 5 of our men to move something that heavy." Kessa, who had purple hair like the grass, shook her head. "Maybe he is using some kind of machine we cannot see." The 3 women watched as Jake continued working. He moved pieces of metal that should have been too heavy for one person. He bent thick pipes with his hands. He pulled apart twisted parts like they were made of soft clay. "We should tell the council," Zara said. "This creature might be dangerous. Or maybe he needs help," Lyria said. She was always kind to others. "Look at him. He seems lost and alone." Jake kept working for hours. The 2 suns were getting lower in the sky. He was hungry and thirsty, but he had to fix his ship. Without it, he would be stuck on this planet forever. He heard a small sound behind him. Jake turned around and saw 3 women standing at the edge of the trees. They looked almost human, but different. Their skin was pale blue, and their hair was colors he had never seen on people before. "Hello?" Jake said in a friendly voice. He smiled and waved his hand. The 3 women stepped back. They looked scared. "It talks," Kessa whispered. "Of course it talks," Zara said. "The question is, what does it want?" Jake could see they were afraid. He put down his tools and held up his hands to show he was not dangerous. "My name is Jake," he said slowly. "I am from Earth. My ship is broken. I need help." The women looked at each other. They spoke in their own language, which sounded like music to Jake's ears. "I am Zara," the blue-haired woman finally said in broken English. "These are my friends Lyria and Kessa. You are human?" "Yes," Jake said. "I am human. I did not mean to crash on your planet. I was just passing through." Zara looked at the broken pieces of metal around Jake's ship. "You moved all these pieces by yourself?" "Yes," Jake said. "Why?" The 3 women looked shocked. They spoke quickly to each other in their language. "How?" Lyria asked. "These pieces are very heavy." Jake looked confused. "They are not that heavy. I have lifted heavier things many times." Kessa pointed at a piece of metal that was as big as a table. "You lifted that?" "Yes," Jake said. He walked over to the piece and picked it up again to show them. "See, it is not so hard," the 3 women gasped. They had never seen anyone so strong before. "This is impossible," Zara said. "Are all humans like you?" "Like me, how?" Jake asked. "So strong," Lyria said. Jake laughed. "I am not very strong for a human. There are many humans much stronger than me." The women looked at each other with wide eyes. If Jake was not very strong for his people, what were the strong ones like? "We must go," Zara said suddenly. "The council must know about this." "Wait," Jake said. "Can you help me?" "I need food and water. Maybe you know someone who can help fix my ship." Zara looked at her friends. She wanted to help, but she was also afraid. This human seemed kind, but he was so strong. What if he was dangerous? "We will talk to our leaders," she said. "Stay here. Do not go into the forest. There are dangerous animals there." "Thank you," Jake said. The 3 women turned and ran back into the trees. Jake watched them go. He was alone again, but now he knew there were people on this planet. Maybe they could help him get home. As the sun set, Jake made a small fire near his ship. He ate some food from his emergency supplies and thought about the strange women he had met. They seemed surprised by his strength. He wondered why. Far away in a city made of crystal and silver, Zara was talking to the Council of Elders. Elder Nisa, an old woman with white hair, listened to her story. "You say this human lifted the heavy metal pieces by himself?" Elder Nisa asked. "Yes, Elder," Zara said. "He did it like it was nothing. He said there are humans much stronger than him." Elder Nisa frowned. "This could be dangerous. If this human is so strong, what could he do to our people?" "He seemed kind," Lyria said. "He asked for help, not to hurt anyone." "Kind creatures can still be dangerous," Elder Nissa said. "We must be careful. Send guards to watch him. Do not let him come to our city until we know more." That night, Jake slept under the strange stars of the alien planet. He did not know that Veltari guards were watching him from the trees. He did not know that his simple act of lifting heavy metal had started something that would change both his life and the lives of the Veltari people forever. 3 days passed since Jake met the 3 Veltari women. Every morning he worked on his ship. Every evening he saw guards watching him from the trees. They never came close, but he knew they were there. Jake was starting to feel lonely. His food was running low and his ship still would not start. He needed help, but the Veltari people seemed afraid of him. On the 4th morning, Jake heard shouting from the forest. He put down his tools and listened. The voices sounded scared and upset. Something was wrong. Jake walked toward the forest. The guards tried to stop him, but he could not understand their language. He pointed toward the shouting and said, "Help, someone needs help." One of the guards ran back toward the city. The other stayed to watch Jake, but Jake was already walking into the forest following the sounds of the shouting. He found a group of Veltari people standing around a hole in the ground. They were crying and talking fast in their language. Jake could see it was the entrance to some kind of mine. Big crystal rocks had fallen down and blocked the way. Zara was there, tears running down her blue face. When she saw Jake, she ran to him. "Please," she said in broken English. "My brother Finn is trapped inside. The crystals fell down. He cannot get out." Jake looked at the entrance. Huge pieces of crystal rock had fallen from the ceiling. They were beautiful, but very heavy. The Veltari people had tried to move them, but the rocks were too big and heavy for them. "How long has he been inside?" Jake asked. "Since this morning," Zara said. "We heard him calling, but now he is quiet. We are afraid he is hurt." Jake could see that many Veltari people had tried to help. They had ropes and tools, but nothing worked. The crystal pieces were just too heavy for them to move. An old Veltari man came up to Jake. He looked angry and scared. "Go away, human," the man said. "This is not your problem. You will only make things worse." "I want to help," Jake said. "Maybe I can move the rocks." The old man laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. "We have 20 men here. If we cannot move the rocks, how can one human do it?" Jake did not answer. He walked to the biggest crystal piece. It was as big as a car and very thick. The Veltari people watched him with wide eyes. Jake bent down and put his hands under the crystal. He took a deep breath and lifted. The heavy crystal came up slowly. The Veltari people gasped and stepped back. Jake carried the crystal away from the entrance and set it down. He went back for the next piece. "This is impossible," the old man whispered. One by one, Jake moved the crystal rocks. Some were so heavy that they had left deep marks in the ground where they fell. But Jake lifted each one like it weighed nothing. Lyria and Kessa arrived with more people from the city. They watched in amazement as Jake cleared the entrance to the mine. "How is he doing this?" Kessa asked. "I do not know," Zara said, "but he is saving my brother." After an hour, Jake had moved enough rocks to make a path into the mine. But there were still more crystals inside that had fallen on top of each other. "I will go in," Jake said. "No," the old man said. "It is too dangerous. More rocks could fall." "Someone has to help Finn," Jake said. "I am strong enough to move the rocks if they fall on me." Before anyone could stop him, Jake went into the dark mine. The Veltari people could hear him moving rocks inside. They heard his voice calling Finn's name. After a few minutes, they heard a young voice answer. Finn was alive. Jake's voice came from deep in the mine. "I found him. He is hurt but alive. I am bringing him out." The Veltari people waited. They could hear Jake moving more rocks inside the mine. The sounds echoed in the crystal caves. Finally, Jake came out of the mine. He was carrying a young Veltari boy in his arms. The boy had blue skin like Zara and looked about 12 years old. His leg was hurt, but he was awake and talking. "Finn," Zara cried. She ran to take her brother from Jake's arms. All the Veltari people gathered around. They were laughing and crying at the same time. The old man who had been angry with Jake now looked ashamed. "I am sorry, human," the old man said. "I was wrong about you. You saved this boy's life." "My name is Jake," Jake said with a smile, "and I am happy to help." A Veltari woman who looked like a doctor examined Finn. She said his leg was broken, but he would be fine. The boy looked up at Jake with big, grateful eyes. "Thank you," Finn said in his young voice. "I was so scared. I thought I would die in there." "You are safe now," Jake said. Zara hugged her brother, then looked at Jake. "How can we thank you? You did something none of us could do." "You do not need to thank me," Jake said. "I am just happy Finn is safe." The Veltari people talked among themselves. They looked at Jake differently now. Before they had been afraid of his strength. Now they saw that his strength could be used to help people. An old woman came through the crowd. Jake could tell she was important because everyone stepped aside for her. She had white hair and wore beautiful clothes made of crystal cloth. "I am Elder Nissa," she said to Jake. "I lead the council of our city. Zara told me about you, but I did not believe her stories about your strength." "I just helped," Jake said. "You did more than help," Elder Nissa said. "You saved a life. Our strongest men could not move those crystals, but you moved them like they were small stones." She looked at the crystal rocks Jake had moved. Each one was bigger than any Veltari person. They would have needed machines to move rocks that size. "Are all humans as strong as you?" Elder Nissa asked. "Some are stronger," Jake said. "Some are not as strong. I'm just normal for a human." The elder looked shocked. "If you are normal, then humans are the strongest people we have ever met." The crowd of Veltari people agreed. They had never seen anything like what Jake had done. "You said your ship is broken," Elder Nissa said. "Perhaps we can help you fix it. Our people are good with crystals and energy. Maybe our crystals can power your ship." Jake's eyes lit up with hope. "That would be wonderful. I have been trying to fix it for days." "It is the least we can do," the elder said. "You saved one of our children. You are welcome in our city." As they walked back through the forest, Zara stayed close to Jake. Lyria and Kessa walked with them, carrying young Finn. "I was wrong about you," Zara said to Jake. "I thought your strength made you dangerous, but you used your strength to help us." "Strength is only dangerous if you use it to hurt people," Jake said. "I do not want to hurt anyone. I just want to fix my ship and go home." "Maybe you could stay for a while," Lyria said shyly. "Our people would like to learn about humans," Jake smiled. "I would like to learn about your people too." When they reached Jake's ship, many Veltari people came to look at it. They had never seen a human ship before. Jake showed them how the engine worked and what was broken. The Veltari engineers looked at the ship with great interest. They said they could help fix it with their crystal technology, but it would take time. That night, Jake ate dinner with Zara's family in their crystal house. He met Finn's parents, who thanked him many times for saving their son. He learned that the Veltari people were peaceful and loved art and music. As Jake went to sleep that night, he felt different. For the first time since crashing on this planet, he felt welcome. The Veltari people were no longer afraid of him. They saw him as a friend who had used his strength to help them. He did not know that his rescue of Finn had already become a story that people were telling all over the city. The human who could move crystal mountains with his bare hands. The strong stranger who saved a Veltari child. Jake Morrison, the simple construction worker from Earth, was becoming a legend on the planet Zephyria. 2 weeks had passed since Jake saved Finn from the crystal mine. His ship was still being repaired, but he did not mind waiting. The Veltari people had welcomed him into their city, and he was learning about their culture. Jake lived in a guest house made of beautiful blue crystal. Every day, Zara, Lyria, and Kessa would visit him. They taught him their language, and he taught them about Earth and humans. The Veltari city was amazing. The buildings were made of crystals that glowed with soft light. Gardens of purple grass and silver trees grew everywhere. The people were kind and peaceful. They loved music, art, and stories. But Jake noticed that the Veltari men often looked at him strangely. They were polite, but they seemed uncomfortable around him. Jake understood why. His rescue of Finn had made all the men feel weak by comparison. One morning, Kessa came to Jake's house with exciting news. "The Festival of Strength is coming," she said. "It happens once every year. All the strongest men compete in contests." "What kind of contests?" Jake asked. "Lifting the sacred stones," Kessa explained. "Carrying water vessels up the holy mountain. Moving the ancient blocks that our ancestors left for us. It is a great honor to compete." Lyria arrived just as Kessa was talking. "The council wants to invite you to watch the festival," she said. "You would be the first human to see our traditions." Jake was interested. "I would like to see your festival." That afternoon, Zara brought Jake to meet the festival organizers. Elder Nisa was there, along with several other important people. One of them was a tall, strong Veltari man with dark blue skin and silver hair. "This is Dex," Elder Nissa said. "He has won the Festival of Strength for the past 5 years. He is the strongest man in our city." Dex looked at Jake with careful eyes. "So you are the human everyone talks about," he said. "The one who moved the crystal rocks." "I am Jake," Jake said, holding out his hand for a friendly shake. Dex looked at Jake's hand but did not take it. "I have heard the stories about your strength. Some people say you are stronger than any Veltari man." Jake could feel the tension in the room. "I just helped where I could," he said. "Perhaps you would like to compete in our festival," Dex said. It sounded like a challenge, not an invitation. Elder Nisa looked worried. "Dex, the human is our guest. We should not ask him to compete in our sacred traditions." "Why not?" asked a woman with purple hair who had been watching quietly. "If he is going to live among us, he should understand our ways." Jake learned that her name was Vera. She was a member of the council and had 2 daughters who were about the same age as Zara. "I would be honored to participate," Jake said, "but I do not want to offend anyone or break your traditions." Elder Nisa thought for a moment. "The festival is meant to celebrate strength and courage. If you truly wish to participate, we will allow it." Dex smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Good. We will see just how strong humans really are." The festival began 3 days later. The whole city came to watch. Colorful banners hung from the crystal buildings. Music played from every street corner. Children ran around wearing flower crowns made from silver leaves. Jake had never seen so many Veltari people in one place. There were thousands of them, all excited about the competitions. Many had come from other cities to watch. The first contest was lifting the sacred stones. These were ancient rocks that had been used in the festival for hundreds of years. The smallest stone weighed as much as a Veltari man. The largest stone was 3 times heavier. 20 Veltari men lined up to compete. Jake stood at the end of the line. He could hear people in the crowd talking about him. "Look at the human," someone said. "He is not much bigger than our men." "But he moved the crystal rocks," another person replied. "Maybe he is stronger than he looks." The contest began. Each man had to lift the smallest stone first, then try the bigger ones. Most men could lift the smallest stone. Half could lift the medium stone. Only 3 men could lift the largest stone, and Dex was one of them. When Jake's turn came, the crowd became very quiet. Everyone wanted to see what the human could do. Jake walked to the smallest stone. He bent down and picked it up easily, as if it weighed nothing. The crowd gasped. He set it down gently and moved to the medium stone. Again, he lifted it without effort. Finally, Jake approached the largest sacred stone. This stone had defeated many strong Veltari men over the years. Jake bent down and wrapped his arms around it. He lifted it high above his head and held it there for several seconds before setting it down. The crowd erupted in amazement. Women and children cheered. Even the men who had been suspicious of Jake looked impressed. But Jake was not finished. He walked to an even larger stone that was not part of the contest. It was just decoration, meant to show how strong the ancient Veltari had been. No one in modern times had ever moved it. Jake lifted this stone too. He held it above his head like it was a small rock. The crowd went wild. Dex's face turned dark blue with anger and embarrassment. He had never seen anyone lift the ancient stone. The second contest was carrying water vessels up the holy mountain. Each contestant had to carry heavy jars of water up a steep path without spilling them. It was a test of both strength and balance. Again, Jake waited for his turn. He watched the Veltari men struggle with the heavy jars. The path was rocky and difficult. Many men had to stop and rest along the way. When Jake's turn came, he picked up not 1 but 2 of the heaviest jars. The crowd could not believe it. Jake climbed the mountain path quickly and smoothly. He did not spill a single drop of water. At the top of the mountain, Jake turned and waved to the crowd below. They cheered so loudly that birds flew out of the nearby trees. Zara, Lyria, and Kessa were jumping up and down with excitement. "Look at him," Zara shouted. "He makes it look so easy." The third and final contest was moving the ancient blocks. These were huge stone rectangles that the first Veltari people had carved long ago. They were covered with beautiful designs and sacred writing. Moving them was supposed to be almost impossible. The contest required teams of men working together. Usually it took 6 men to move one block just a few feet. The team that moved their block the farthest won the contest. Dex led a team of the strongest men in the city. They worked together, pushing and pulling their block inch by inch. After an hour of hard work, they had moved it about 10 feet. Jake was given a team of younger men who had never won anything before. But when the contest started, Jake told his team to step back. "Let me try something," he said. Jake walked to his block alone. He put his hands on one end and pushed. The massive stone block slid across the ground like it was made of ice. Jake pushed it 20 feet, then 30 feet, then 50 feet. He could have kept going, but the contest area ran out of space. The crowd was silent for a moment, then exploded in the loudest cheer Jake had ever heard. People were crying, laughing, and shouting all at the same time. Elder Nissa stood up on the judge's platform. "Never in the history of our people has anyone moved an ancient block so far," she announced. "The human Jake has shown us strength beyond our imagination." After the contest, many Veltari people came to talk to Jake. They wanted to touch his arms and ask him questions about human strength. "Are all humans like you?" asked a young woman. "Most humans are stronger than me," Jake said honestly. The woman looked shocked. "Stronger than you? That seems impossible." Vera, the council member, approached Jake with her 2 daughters. "My girls have been talking about you for weeks," she said. "They say if you represent normal human strength, then your warriors must be like gods." Jake laughed. "We are not gods. We are just people who happen to be strong. What you did today was incredible," one of Vera's daughters said. "You lifted stones that no Veltari has ever lifted. You moved blocks that take our strongest teams to budge." As the sun set, there was a great feast to celebrate the festival. Jake sat at the table of honor with Elder Nissa and the other winners. But he noticed that Dex and some of the other men sat far away and did not talk to him. Zara sat next to Jake at the feast. "You were amazing today," she said. "But I think you were holding back. You could have done even more, could you not?" Jake nodded. "I did not want to show off too much. These are your people's traditions. I wanted to be respectful." "You were very respectful," Zara said, "but also very impressive. I think every woman in the city is talking about you tonight." Jake looked around the feast. It was true. Groups of Veltari women kept looking at him and whispering to each other. They seemed excited and amazed. As the night went on, Jake realized that something had changed. The Festival of Strength had not just been a competition, it had been a demonstration of what humans could do. The Veltari people now understood that humans were incredibly strong, but also gentle and respectful. But Jake also saw that some of the men, especially Dex, were not happy about this. He wondered if this would cause problems later. For now, though, Jake enjoyed the feast and the celebration. He had participated in an ancient Veltari tradition and earned the respect of their people. It felt good to be accepted and appreciated. What he did not know was that news of his performance was already spreading to other cities and other planets. The story of the human who could move mountains was becoming legend throughout the galaxy. 1 month after the Festival of Strength, Jake was helping the Veltari engineers finish repairing his ship. They had learned to use Earth technology mixed with their crystal power sources. The work was almost done. Jake had grown to love life on Zephyria. The Veltari people treated him like family. He had learned their language and customs. Zara visited him every day, and they had become close friends. Sometimes Jake wondered if he really wanted to leave this peaceful planet, but that peaceful life was about to change. It started with strange ships appearing in the sky. They were big, dark, and looked like weapons. The Veltari people had never seen ships like these before. Elder Nissa called an emergency meeting of the council. Jake was invited because he knew about space travel and different types of ships. "What kind of ships are those?" Elder Nissa asked Jake. Jake looked at the pictures the Veltari had taken. The ships were covered with armor and had many guns. They looked like warships. Those are military ships, Jake said. Someone is coming here to fight. The Veltari people looked scared. They were a peaceful people who had no army and no weapons. Their planet had never been attacked before. 3 days later, the alien ships landed outside the city. Soldiers came out wearing heavy armor and carrying weapons. They were taller than both humans and Veltari, with gray skin and red eyes. They looked mean and dangerous. The leader of the soldiers sent a message to the city. He wanted to meet with the Veltari leaders immediately. Elder Nissa, Jake, and several council members went to meet the aliens. Zara, Lyria, and Kessa came too, even though Elder Nissa said it was dangerous. The alien leader was huge, almost 8 feet tall. His armor was black and covered with spikes. When he spoke, his voice was deep and scary. "I am General Vex of the Corvani Empire," he said. "This planet now belongs to us. Your people will work for us and give us half of everything you make." Elder Nissa stepped forward bravely. "We are a peaceful people," she said. "We have done nothing wrong. Why do you want to take our planet?" General Vex laughed, but it was not a nice laugh. "Because we can take it. You are weak. Your people have no weapons, no army. You cannot stop us. What if we refuse?" Elder Nissa asked. "Then we will destroy your city and take everything anyway," General Vex said. "But if you cooperate, we will let your people live." Jake had been listening quietly, but now he felt angry. These aliens were bullying the Veltari people, who had been nothing but kind to him. "You cannot just take someone's planet," Jake said. Stepping forward, General Vex looked down at Jake. "And what are you, little creature? Another weak Veltari?" "I am human," Jake said. "From Earth?" General Vex laughed again. "Human? I have never heard of your species. You look as weak as the rest of these people." One of the Corvani soldiers came forward. He was smaller than General Vex, but still bigger than Jake. "Let me show this human what real strength looks like," the soldier said. The soldier reached out to shake Jake's hand, but Jake could see it was not meant to be friendly. The soldier was trying to crush Jake's hand to show how strong the Corvani were. Jake took the soldier's hand. The soldier squeezed as hard as he could, expecting Jake to cry out in pain. But instead, Jake squeezed back. The soldier's confident smile disappeared. His eyes got wide with surprise. He tried to squeeze harder, but Jake's grip was too strong. The soldier started to make small sounds of pain. General Vex watched with interest. "What is happening, Lieutenant Krex?" "Sir," the soldier said through gritted teeth, "this human—" His grip? "It is very strong." Jake let go of the soldier's hand. Lieutenant Krex stepped back, shaking his hurt hand and looking embarrassed. "Interesting," General Vex said. "Perhaps you humans are not as weak as you look." The general had brought a metal staff as a symbol of his power. It was thick and made of the strongest metal the Corvani had. No one was supposed to be able to bend or break it. "Let us see how strong you really are, human," General Vex said. He handed the staff to Jake. "Try to bend this." Jake took the metal staff. It was heavy and thick, designed to be unbreakable. The Corvani soldiers watched with smug expressions. They knew their metal was the strongest in the galaxy. Jake looked at the staff for a moment. Then he placed his hands on either end and slowly bent it. The metal groaned and twisted under his strength. In seconds, Jake had bent the unbreakable staff into a perfect U-shape. The Corvani soldiers stepped back in shock. Even General Vex looked surprised. "Your metal is not very strong," Jake said calmly, handing the bent staff back to the general. General Vex stared at the twisted metal. "This is impossible. That staff is made of reinforced titanium. It should be unbreakable." "Maybe for you," Jake said. To prove his point further, Jake walked over to one of the Corvani supply crates. These crates were huge and heavy, meant to be moved only by machines. Jake bent down and lifted the entire crate over his head with one hand. The Corvani soldiers began talking nervously among themselves. They had never seen anyone lift their supply crates before. Zara, Lyria, and Kessa watched with growing excitement. They had seen Jake's strength before, but never against enemies who deserved to be scared. "How many humans are there?" General Vex asked. For the first time, he sounded less confident. "Billions," Jake said, "and many of them are much stronger than me." This was not exactly true, but Jake wanted the Corvani to think twice about attacking Earth or any planet with humans on it. General Vex looked at his soldiers, then back at Jake. Are you saying your entire species is this strong? Strong enough, Jake said. We do not like bullies who attack peaceful people. Lieutenant Krex whispered something to General Vex. The general nodded and pulled out a small device. Jake could see it was some kind of scanner. The device beeped and flashed as it scanned Jake. General Vex looked at the results and his red eyes got wide. This is impossible, he said. According to this scanner, your physical strength is off our measurement scale. You are stronger than our enhanced soldiers, stronger than our machines. Jake smiled. I told you I am not very strong for a human. The Corvani soldiers were now looking very nervous. They had come here expecting to fight weak aliens. Instead, they had found someone who might be stronger than all of them combined. If humans are this strong, General Vex said slowly. Why have we never heard of your species? Because we mind our own business, Jake said. We do not go around attacking peaceful planets like you do. Elder Nisa had been watching everything with amazement. She stepped forward again. Now you see that we have a strong friend, she said to General Vex. Will you leave our planet in peace? General Vex looked at Jake, then at his nervous soldiers, then at the bent metal staff in his hands. He was thinking hard. I need to contact my superiors, he said finally. This changes things. What changes things? Lieutenant Krex asked. If this human represents the average strength of his species, then the humans could be valuable allies, General Vex said. Or very dangerous enemies. Jake crossed his arms. We prefer to be allies with peaceful people, but we will be enemies to anyone who hurts our friends. He looked at Zara and the other Veltari. These people are my friends. General Vex stared at Jake for a long moment. We will return to our ships and reconsider our plans for this planet. Good idea, Jake said. As the Corvani soldiers walked back to their ships, Jake could hear them talking nervously about human strength and whether they should cancel their invasion plans. Lieutenant Krex kept looking back at Jake and shaking his sore hand. After the Corvani left, the Veltari people gathered around Jake. They were amazed and grateful. You saved us again, Zara said. Those aliens were going to make slaves of our people. I just showed them that bullying does not always work, Jake said. Elder Nisa looked thoughtful. Jake, what you did today was very brave. But what if they come back with more soldiers? Then they will learn that humans do not like bullies, Jake said. And if they are smart, they will decide to be friends instead of enemies. That night, the Corvani ships left Zephiria's orbit. But Jake noticed they did not go very far. They were probably waiting and watching, trying to decide what to do about this surprisingly strong human. Jake realized that his simple act of defending the Veltari had caught the attention of a galactic empire. The Corvani would probably want to learn more about humans and Earth. He hoped they would choose friendship over war. But if they chose war, they would learn just how strong humans could be when protecting the people they cared about. As Jake looked up at the stars that night, he wondered if his time on Zephyria was about to become much more complicated. 2 weeks passed after the Corvani ships left Zephiria's orbit. Jake's ship was finally repaired and ready to fly. The Veltari engineers had done amazing work, combining their crystal technology with human engineering. The ship was now stronger and faster than before, but Jake found himself not wanting to leave. Life on Zephyria had become special to him. He had friends here, people who cared about him, especially Zara, who had become very important to him. The Veltari people did not want him to leave either. Word of his strength and kindness had spread to every city on the planet. Children drew pictures of Jake lifting the crystal rocks. Musicians wrote songs about the human who saved Finn. He had become a hero to the entire planet. Jake was thinking about his future when his ship's communication system started beeping. Someone was trying to contact him from space. Jake answered the call and saw General Vex's face on the screen. But the Corvani general looked different now. He was not wearing his scary armor. Instead, he wore simple clothes and looked almost friendly. Human Jake, General Vex said. I request permission to meet with you again. Jake was surprised. Why? Are you planning to attack the Veltari again? No, General Vex said. I come to talk about peace. And possibly friendship. Elder Nissa and the council were nervous about meeting the Corvani again. But Jake convinced them to give General Vex a chance. This time they met in the council chambers in the Crystal City. General Vex came alone without weapons or armor. He looked much less scary this way. I have spent 2 weeks talking to my superiors about humans, General Vex began. We have decided that your species is too strong to fight. We would prefer to be allies. What do you mean? Elder Nissa asked. The Corvani Empire has many enemies, General Vex explained. Species that attack our planets and steal our resources. If humans are as strong as Jake, they could help us defend ourselves. Jake leaned forward. We are not soldiers for hire. Humans fight only to protect peaceful people. That is exactly what we want, General Vex said. We want to protect our people too. Perhaps we can work together. Jake thought about this. What about the Veltari? Will you leave them alone? Of course, General Vex said. Any planet with human friends is under our protection now. We do not want to make enemies of your species. Elder Nissa looked relieved. So our planet is safe? Completely safe, General Vex promised. In fact, we would like to establish a trade agreement with the Veltari. Your crystal technology is very advanced. We could learn from each other. This was good news, but Jake was still careful. How do I know you are telling the truth? General Vex reached into his bag and pulled out something that surprised everyone. It was the metal staff that Jake had bent into a U-shape. I have kept this as a reminder, General Vex said. Our strongest soldiers tried to straighten it again. None of them could do it. This bent metal has taught my people that strength does not always come from armies and weapons. He handed the staff to Jake. Would you straighten it for me? Jake took the twisted metal and easily bent it back into its original shape. General Vex watched with wonder, as if he was seeing magic. Incredible, the general said. You make it look so simple. It is simple, Jake said. For humans, General Vex nodded. My superiors want to meet with Earth's leaders. We want to propose an alliance between the Corvani Empire and humanity. I am just one human, Jake said. I cannot speak for all of Earth. But you could carry our message to your leaders, General Vex said. You could tell them that the Corvani Empire wants peace with humanity. Jake thought about this. If he returned to Earth, he could help prevent a war between humans and the Corvani. That was important, but it would mean leaving Zephyria and his friends here. After General Vex left, Jake walked through the Crystal City thinking about his choice. Everywhere he went, Veltari people smiled and waved at him. Children followed him, asking for stories about Earth. He felt loved and appreciated here. Zara found him sitting in the garden behind his guest house. She could see he was troubled. You are thinking about leaving, she said. It was not a question. I might need to, Jake said. If I can help prevent a war between humans and Corvani, I should try. Zara sat down next to him on the crystal bench. I understand, but I will miss you very much. I will miss you too, Jake said, more than you know. They sat quietly for a while, watching the purple grass wave in the wind under the orange sky. I have been learning about human culture, Zara said finally. I read about your planet, your cities, your people. It sounds like an amazing world. It is, Jake said, but it is also very different from here. Earth is more busy, more complicated. Zephyria is peaceful and beautiful. Maybe, Zara said carefully. I could visit Earth someday, to see this amazing human world for myself. Jake smiled. I would like that very much. The next day, Elder Nissa called a special meeting of the council. They had been discussing Jake's situation all night. Jake, Elder Nissa said, we have a proposal for you. What kind of proposal? Stay here as Earth's first ambassador to Zephyria, she said. You could be the bridge between our peoples. When Earth is ready to make contact with us officially, you would already be here to help. Jake's eyes lit up. You want me to stay? Very much, Elder Nissa said. You have become part of our world. Our people love you. And we believe humans and Veltari could learn much from each other. Vera, the council member, spoke up. My daughters have been studying human culture through your ship's computer. They say humans have amazing art, music, and stories. We would love to learn more. And we could teach humans about crystal technology and peaceful living, another council member added. Jake looked around the room at all the friendly faces. These people had become his family. There is one problem, Jake said. I still need to get General Vex's message to Earth. Humans need to know that the Corvani want peace. We can help with that, Elder Nissa said. We have long-range communication crystals. You could send messages to Earth from here. That evening, Jake sent a detailed message to Earth's government. He explained about the Corvani Empire, their proposal for peace, and his new role as ambassador to Zephyria. He also included information about Veltari crystal technology and their peaceful culture. A few days later, Earth responded. They were very interested in both the Corvani alliance and the Veltari friendship. They officially appointed Jake as Earth's ambassador to Zephyria and gave him permission to negotiate on behalf of humanity. The news spread quickly through the city. Jake Morrison, the human who had crashed on their planet by accident, was now officially representing Earth. The Veltari people were excited and proud to have such an important friend. Zara was especially happy. "Now you can stay here and still serve your people," she said. "It is perfect," Jake agreed. It was perfect. General Vex visited again a week later. This time he brought gifts for the Veltari people and a formal peace treaty for Jake to review. "The Corvani Empire recognizes Earth as a sovereign world," General Vex announced. "We promise never to attack human colonies or human allies. In return, we hope for friendship and cooperation." Jake read the treaty carefully. It was fair and reasonable. The Corvani were truly interested in peace. "I will recommend that Earth accept this treaty," Jake said. "But remember, humans keep their promises. If you ever break this peace, you will face all of humanity's strength." General Vex nodded seriously. "We understand. We have no desire to fight beings who can bend metal with their bare hands." As months passed, Jake settled into his new life as ambassador. He helped establish trade between Earth, Zephyria, and even the Corvani Empire. Human engineers came to study Veltari crystal technology. Veltari artists visited Earth to learn about human culture. Jake also worked on improving relationships between the Veltari men and himself. Dex, the former festival champion, eventually apologized for his jealousy and became one of Jake's closest friends. "I was angry because you made me feel weak," Dex admitted. "But now I understand that strength is not just about lifting heavy things. You use your strength to help people. That is true strength." 1 year after Jake's ship had crashed on Zephyria, the planet held a special celebration. They declared it Human Friendship Day, in honor of the day Jake had arrived and changed their world. At the celebration, Elder Nissa gave a speech. "A year ago, a human fell from the sky and crashed on our world. We thought he might be dangerous because of his great strength. Instead, we learned that strength without kindness is meaningless, but strength with kindness can save worlds." The crowd of Veltari people cheered. They had all come to love and respect their human friend. Jake stood up to speak. "When I crashed here, I thought I was lost and alone. Instead, I found a new home and a new family. You have taught me that being strong is not about what you can lift. It is about what you choose to protect." He looked at Zara, who was sitting in the front row with Lyria and Kessa. "The Veltari people are gentle and peaceful, but they are not weak. They have the strength to be kind to strangers, to forgive those who wrong them, and to choose peace over war. That is the greatest strength of all that night." As Jake and Zara walked through the crystal gardens under the stars, she asked him a question. "Do you ever regret staying here instead of going back to Earth?" Jake looked up at the alien stars that now felt like home. "Never," he said. "Earth will always..."